So just to dive in a little bit more on the expense side of that, I think one of the biggest fears that a property owner might have when initially handing over their property to a management company is that their expenses are going to go out of control.
Yeah, I've heard that. Not with us. I mean, we don't take on properties unless it's absolutely needed. Our whole relationship should never be started off with, oh my gosh, this is a dump. On our end, we better have done our due diligence. So if we didn't do our due diligence, then there's something wrong. So we oftentimes do get properties that have been neglected either by other property management companies or a property manager independently, or the owner themselves didn't do a great job and they moved out of state. So if we are getting that property, our due diligence is to let them know up front, this is what we have to do. Some of it is compliance stuff. I've had owners not be compliant even just with rental ordinances. And so that is an expense. But the goal is to tell them this all up front so it's not a surprise. I hate surprises. Actually, I hate surprises in life as well. So I can relate that I wouldn't want that as an owner. And it's the same thing. It's this risk though. But I will say on the flip side, the risk of owning investment property is that there is going to be costs involved. Tenants tend to be harder on properties than homeowners. We can let a faucet, be leaky for a while and know that we have to turn the handle just so to have it stop leaking until we're ready or can afford to replace it. With tenants, it's going to be a little bit different. So things are, what quality of grade product are you putting into the property? What's in there? And if it's going to break easily, it's because of the quality. I don't believe in putting a Band-Aid on anything. So I really want to fix something right the first time. And if it's not, then it's on me and we'll get it done right.
Nice. And tell me about the fact that you have a maintenance company as well. Is there any conflict of interest with
No.
that?
So here's the thing. We do have a maintenance company. And the reason why is because now I have that relationship with my own technicians I can control the outcome a little bit better. So if something's not done right, guess who it's now on me. Like, I'm going to make sure that you do it right. Because I have a lot of processes in place just for maintenance. I love maintenance. In fact, it's like one of my specialties. I love it and I enjoy it. And I love to see a property come together. So if we've, had our technician go out and it wasn't fixed the first time, I'm going to send them out and not charge the owner again. I mean, you don't always get that luxury with a third-party vendor. You really don't. Even if you're the owner managing it with a third-party vendor, you don't always get the luxury to say, hey, you got to come back and fix this. They may say that it's now something else. We do allow owners, if they want, to bring in their own licensed person, but we won't manage the process. So we can't take on the risk of having somebody who they claim is their vendor that we did not vet. And we have to make sure if we're bringing people on either on staff or a third party, because I don't have an HVAC vendor on staff, but I have a third party one that I've worked with for years and we have a great relationship. But just because, I get audited every year by my insurance company and I have to give them all of that information. So if I don't have workers' comp, if I don't have their general liability insurance, if I don't have any of that, I can't use them as a sub. So with owners, if they're taking on the responsibility of wanting to fix something, they actually have to take on the responsibility to coordinate with the tenant and the vendor and the billing. We can't do that for them because we'll take on that risk. And if you think about it, the tenant, if a vendor did a really bad job doing something or something happened or something got stolen, heaven forbid, then that has to fall on. We communicate right to the tenant to say in the beginning, before work's going to get done, the owner is taking care of it. They're going to contact you and they're going to arrange everything, or that vendor is going to contact you. And this is handled by the owner. We want to make sure that they understand that we didn't have control, but I understand also it's the owner's asset. So if they feel they can get a better deal, then they're welcome to do it. Oftentimes, I will tell you that we are a better deal on pricing because we buy things in bulk and wholesale. So that all comes right into our warehouse, and we have our own vans, so everything's stocked. So we don't have to make trips to Home Depot 100 million times. It's all included.
Well, that's huge right there, having things in stock, because
Yes.
if you hire a handyman, it's an hour to get to the project, then an hour to diagnose it, an hour, 2 hours to get to the Home Depot.
So part of our process, and part of, not that this is my trade secret or anything, but we really focus on troubleshooting the issue up front. If it's a tenant-related issue, meaning, for example, a garbage disposal. So a tenant says it's no longer working. We're obviously going to go through the troubleshooting things of what you should do to, okay, it's still not working. Okay, if we go out there and our technician goes out there and it's something that you caused, and we've had pennies, I've had rocks, I've had hair, we've charged that back to the tenant. That's not the owner's fault. That's above normal wear and tear. So that's where owners like us as well, and having our own maintenance company, because we'll charge it back to the tenant. It's their responsibility to pay. And we are very upfront with the tenant. It's in their contract, and it's what we tell them before we get out to the property. And they understand, this is what has to be done. We don't do any want fixes, meaning a tenant going, well, I really want this done. If it's not anything that's detrimental, like they have to have it done, or it's just not a need, then we can reject the work order because the owner may not pay for it. So,
want to hear more on this topic? Click the link below for the full episode of Maximizing Your Property Value.